Have you ever woken up in the morning with a quiet fear sitting in your heart? A fear you cannot fully explain. Perhaps it is fear about your future, fear about your family, fear about your health, or fear about something you cannot control. Many people begin their day carrying invisible burdens that weigh heavily on their minds. Fear whispers lies in the early hours of the morning. It tells you that you are not strong enough, not capable enough, not protected enough. But today, there is a powerful truth that must rise above every whisper of fear. The message of this day is simple, yet life-changing. Fear will not control you today. The world may try to fill your mind with anxiety, uncertainty, and doubt, but your life was never meant to be ruled by fear. You were created to walk in courage, in faith, and in strength that comes from a greater source. Look around the world today and you will see that fear has become one of the most powerful forces shaping human behavior. People fear losing their jobs. They fear rejection. They fear failure. They fear the unknown future that tomorrow might bring. Fear can enter the mind quietly and then begin to build walls around a person's life. It can stop dreams before they even begin. It can silence voices that were meant to speak truth. It can cause a strong person to doubt their own abilities. Fear has the power to paralyze the heart if it is allowed to take control. But there is a deeper truth that every person must understand. Fear may knock on the door of your heart, but it does not have the authority to live there. It can whisper, but it cannot rule unless you allow it. There is a powerful verse that speaks directly into the battle against fear. It declares that God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, of love, and of a sound mind. Think about those words carefully. Fear is not part of the gift that God has placed within you. Instead, you have been given power to stand when life becomes difficult, power to move forward when the road seems uncertain, power to keep believing when others begin to doubt. Along with that power comes love, a love that pushes out fear and replaces it with compassion, patience, and strength. And finally, there is a sound mind, a calm and steady mind that does not crumble under pressure. When fear tries to invade your thoughts, remember that it is not part of the spirit that has been placed within you. Many of the fears that control people today are built on uncertainty about the future. People wonder what tomorrow will bring. They worry about problems that have not yet happened. They imagine worst-case scenarios and allow those thoughts to take root in their minds. But the truth is that fear often grows in the soil of imagination. It feeds on what if questions. What if things go wrong? What if I fail? What if I lose everything? Yet most of the things people fear never actually happen. Fear exaggerates problems and makes obstacles appear larger than they really are. When you understand this, you begin to see fear for what it truly is. It is not always a reflection of reality. Often it is simply a shadow cast by uncertainty. Throughout history, some of the strongest individuals have faced moments of deep fear. Courage does not mean that fear never appears. Courage means refusing to allow fear to take control of your decisions. It means choosing faith when doubt tries to dominate your mind. Every great step forward in life requires a moment where fear must be confronted. The person who starts a new journey feels fear. The person who speaks truth in a difficult situation feels fear. The person who pursues a dream that others do not understand feels fear. Yet those who move forward despite fear are the ones who discover the strength that was hidden inside them all along. Fear often tries to convince you that you are alone in your struggles. It isolates you. It tells you that no one understands what you are going through. But the truth is that every human being experiences fear at some point in life. The difference between those who are controlled by fear and those who overcome it lies in what they choose to believe. When you believe that you are alone, fear becomes stronger. When you remember that you are supported by a greater power and surrounded by people who care about you, fear begins to lose its grip. Faith reminds you that your life is not a random accident. You are guided, protected, and strengthened in ways that you may not always see. Education teaches us that the human mind is incredibly powerful. The thoughts you allow to grow inside your mind will shape the direction of your life. If your thoughts are constantly filled with fear, your actions will begin to reflect that fear. You will hesitate where you should move forward. You will remain silent where you should speak. But when your mind is filled with courage, hope, and confidence, your life begins to move in a different direction. You start to take steps that once seemed impossible. You begin to see opportunities where others only see problems. A sound mind does not ignore challenges, but it refuses to be overwhelmed by them. Today is a new day, and every new day brings a new opportunity to choose what will control your thoughts. Fear will always try to present itself as the loudest voice in the room. It will shout warnings and paint dark pictures of the future. But there is another voice that speaks with calm authority. It reminds you that you are stronger than the fear you face. It tells you that the power placed inside you is greater than the obstacles in front of you. When you listen to that voice, you begin to walk with a different kind of confidence. Your steps become steadier. Your heart becomes calmer. Your vision becomes clearer. Imagine what your life would look like if fear no longer controlled your decisions. Imagine waking up each morning with the belief that you are equipped with power, love, and a clear mind. You would approach challenges with courage rather than hesitation. You would pursue your goals with determination rather than doubt. You would face uncertainty with faith rather than anxiety. Fear would no longer be the chain that holds you back. Instead, it would become the signal that reminds you to rely on the strength that has already been placed within you. The message for this day is simple but powerful. Fear may try to visit your mind, but it does not have permission to rule your life. You have been given power to rise above it. You have been given love that casts it out. You have been given a sound mind that keeps you steady, even in the middle of life's storms. When fear whispers that you cannot move forward, answer it with faith. When fear tells you that you are weak, remember the strength that lives within you. And as this day unfolds, walk forward with confidence, knowing that fear will not control you today. Have you ever felt a fear so deep that it stops your heart for a moment? That quiet whisper that tells you you cannot go forward, you cannot achieve, you cannot overcome. Perhaps it is fear about your future, fear about your health, fear about relationships, or fear about what tomorrow might bring. Fear is subtle, yet it can take root and grow stronger every time you listen to it. Many people begin their days carrying invisible chains that weigh down their minds. Fear tells you that you are not enough, that your efforts are useless, that failure is inevitable. But there is a truth far stronger than fear, a power that can rise inside you and cast it out completely. Today, you are called to understand that fear does not belong to you. You were created to walk in courage and in faith. You were created to rise above the doubts that threaten your peace and your progress. The world is full of examples of people ruled by fear, people whose lives are dictated by anxiety, doubt, and hesitation. People fear losing their jobs, fear rejection, fear illness, and fear financial insecurity. Fear often enters quietly like a shadow, and before you know it, it has taken control of your decisions. It can make a person doubt their abilities, second-guess their choices, and remain silent when they should speak. Fear can freeze even the strongest person if left unchecked. But there is a reality that must guide your heart. Fear is not invincible. Fear may knock on your door, but it cannot live inside unless you invite it. The moment you refuse to accept its authority, you begin to reclaim your power. You begin to realize that your life was never meant to be governed by fear, but by strength, love, and a mind that is free and sound.
There is a verse in Scripture that speaks directly to the heart of every fearful soul.
It says that God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, of love, and of a sound mind. Think deeply about those words. Fear is not part of the spirit that lives inside you. You have been given power. Power to face challenges, power to rise when life pushes you down, power to act when circumstances seem impossible. Along with that power comes love, a love that drives out fear, a love that strengthens you, protects you, and equips you to act boldly. And finally, that is a sound mind, a mind that remains calm, clear, and focused, even when the storms of life rage around you. Fear cannot control what God has empowered, loved, and strengthened. Fear often grows from imagining problems that have not yet happened, from thinking about worst-case scenarios, and from dwelling on uncertainty. People wonder what tomorrow will bring, and in their minds they create obstacles far larger than reality. Fear loves to exaggerate difficulties, to magnify challenges, and to convince you that success is impossible. But most fears never come true. Fear is often a shadow cast by imagination rather than a reflection of reality. When you understand this, you begin to see fear for what it really is: a temporary visitor, not a permanent resident. It is something to confront, challenge, and overcome, not something to obey. Once you realize that fear cannot control your life unless you allow it, your perspective changes. Courage begins to replace hesitation, and confidence starts to push out doubt. Courage does not mean that fear disappears. It means acting in spite of fear. Every great achievement, every bold step forward begins with fear being acknowledged and then refused. Those who make a difference in the world are not those who never feel fear, but those who refuse to let it stop them. Fear will rise when you start a new endeavor, when you take a risk, when you speak truth, or when you pursue a dream that others do not understand. But those who face fear with faith discover the power that already resides inside them. You were made for courage. You were made to act when fear says no. You were made to believe when doubt tries to steal your vision. Each moment you refuse to yield to fear, your confidence grows, your strength increases, and your path becomes clearer. Fear also wants to isolate you. It whispers that you are alone, that no one can understand your struggle, that nobody cares about your life. But the reality is that every human experiences fear at some point. The difference lies in how you respond to it. When you believe you are alone, fear becomes stronger. When you remember that you are supported, loved, and guided by forces greater than yourself, fear begins to lose its power. Faith reminds you that you are never abandoned. It reminds you that you are protected and strengthened in ways that you cannot always see. Fear thrives on isolation, but faith thrives on connection, trust, and understanding. When you allow that truth to anchor your heart, fear cannot dominate your thoughts. Your mind is one of the most powerful tools you have. The thoughts you allow to grow within it determine the direction of your life. If your mind is filled with fear, hesitation, and doubt, your actions will reflect the same. You will stop before trying, hesitate before speaking, and retreat when faced with challenges. But when your mind is trained to focus on courage, hope, and faith, a transformation occurs. Your actions become bold. Your voice becomes strong, and your vision becomes clear. The sound mind that God has given you allows you to think, plan, and act without being paralyzed by fear. Education, discipline, and reflection teach the mind to distinguish between real threats and imagined worries, equipping you to respond with wisdom and strength. Fear will often try to dominate your day, whispering that you cannot succeed and warning you of imagined dangers. But there is a voice stronger than fear, a voice of faith, confidence, and divine power. That voice tells you that you are capable of more than you realize. It tells you that the power within you is far greater than the obstacles you face. Listening to that voice requires intention and courage. You must choose to hear it over the fearful whispers. The more you listen, the louder it becomes until it drowns out fear completely. Fear may shout, but it has no authority over the one who walks in courage, love, and a sound mind. Every step taken in faith builds a momentum that fear cannot overcome. Imagine what your life would be like if fear no longer ruled your decisions. Imagine starting each day with confidence, knowing that the Spirit within you is greater than any challenge you might face. You would approach problems with calmness rather than panic, You would pursue your goals with determination rather than hesitation. You would embrace uncertainty with faith instead of anxiety. Fear would no longer hold you back, but would serve as a reminder of the power already within you. Each challenge would become an opportunity for growth. Each moment of doubt would become a chance to trust in your inner strength. Fear would not control your choices, your actions, or your destiny. There is a remarkable freedom that comes from refusing to let fear dominate your heart. That freedom allows you to live intentionally, to pursue your purpose, and to inspire those around you. Every act of courage, every decision made in faith strengthens not only you, but also those who watch your life unfold. Your courage becomes contagious, your love becomes evident, and your sound mind becomes a testimony to what is possible when fear is refused. You begin to see life through a lens of possibility, not limitation. The chains of hesitation are broken, and your steps become deliberate, bold, and unstoppable. Freedom from fear is not just about courage. It is about embracing your true identity and the strength that is already within you. Fear can never be fully eliminated from life, but it can be confronted and overcome. Every challenge, every difficulty, and every moment of uncertainty becomes an opportunity to exercise faith. The spirit eye inside you was not designed for fear. It was designed for power, love, and clarity of mind. By remembering this truth, you reclaim the authority over your life that fear seeks to steal. Every time you stand firm against fear, every time you act despite doubt, you prove to yourself that you are stronger than what tries to stop you. Life's storms may rage, obstacles may rise, and uncertainty may loom, but the courage within you remains unwavering. Fear has no control over the one who walks in faith and in the power given to them. As you move through this day, let the truth of these words anchor your soul. Fear will come, but it does not have permission to rule your life. Power, love, and a sound mind are your inheritance. You are capable, you are protected, and you are equipped to rise above every challenge. The moment fear appears is the moment to remember who you are and what has been placed inside you. Every step taken in courage diminishes the power of fear. Every act of love replaces hesitation with action. Every thought guided by a sound mind restores clarity, purpose, and direction. Today, the choice is yours: to let fear control you, or to rise above it with faith, courage, and confidence. Have you ever felt fear creeping into your thoughts so quietly that you didn't even notice it? That fear that asks, what if you fail? Or what if you're not enough? Fear often disguises itself as caution, as wisdom, or even as concern for your own safety. But make no mistake, fear can be a thief of your joy, a blocker of your purpose, and a silent chain around your potential. Today, there is a message that must reach your heart. You were not made to live in fear. Your spirit is designed for courage, strength, and clarity. Fear can knock on your mind, but it cannot reside there unless you give it permission. Every step you take toward faith pushes fear back into the shadows. The power inside you is stronger than the doubt outside you. Many people allow fear to dictate the smallest decisions of their lives. They hesitate to speak, they avoid challenges, and they delay dreams. Fear thrives on hesitation because hesitation gives it room to grow. It whispers in moments of uncertainty, convincing you that you are alone, unprepared, or unworthy. But fear is not reality. It is perception twisted by doubt. Every great achievement in history was accomplished by people who felt fear and moved forward anyway. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is action in spite of it. The choice to act transforms fear from a master into a servant. When you refuse to obey fear, you reclaim control of your destiny and your mind. Fear often arises when the mind imagines impossible scenarios, focusing on what ifs instead of the present truth. What if I fail? What if people reject me? What if life turns against me? These questions may seem logical, but fear magnifies them far beyond their actual weight. Most of the events we fear never come to pass, yet the fear we experience is real, and it can shape our lives if left unchecked. Education and awareness teach us that fear is a product of imagination, not prophecy. Once you identify fear as a visitor rather than a ruler, you regain your authority. Your thoughts begin to align with reality, not with exaggerate. Rated shadows. Clarity of mind begins to replace panic and doubt. Faith and fear cannot occupy the same space. Every time you choose faith, you weaken the hold of fear. Faith is a choice, a deliberate act of turning your focus toward what is true, possible, and hopeful. When fear arises, it is often because you forget the strength that resides within you. You forget the power, love, and sound mind that have already been given to you. Remembering these gifts anchors your spirit in courage and confidence. Every moment of fear becomes an opportunity to practice faith. Every obstacle becomes a training ground for courage. Every whispered doubt can be replaced with a declaration of strength. Faith gives action to your thoughts and courage to your heart. Fear thrives in isolation, convincing you that nobody understands your struggle or supports your journey. It seeks to isolate you in your mind and heart, leaving you vulnerable to its whispers. But the truth is that no one is exempt from fear. Every human being has faced moments of anxiety, hesitation, and doubt. The difference lies in perspective. When you remember that you are supported by unseen forces, guided by wisdom, and surrounded by those who care, fear begins to lose its grip. Connection replaces isolation, and encouragement replaces anxiety. Fear may visit, but it cannot live where faith, love, and clarity dwell. Strength is multiplied when it is shared and supported. The mind is a battlefield, and every thought matters. If you allow fear to dominate your thinking, it will dominate your actions. Your hesitation will grow into inaction, and your doubts will grow into limitations. But if you train your mind to focus on hope, strength, and confidence, your actions will reflect courage. Discipline of thought is essential because a mind ruled by fear produces a life ruled by fear. Education, reflection, and prayer can teach the mind to identify fear, confront it, and replace it with truth. When the mind is sound, decisions are made with clarity, purpose, and courage. You begin to act, speak, and live in a way that fear can no longer control. Fear is often loudest in moments of change, uncertainty, and opportunity. It will speak when you are about to take a risk, when you are about to speak your truth, or when you are about to step into the unknown. It wants you to stay small, to remain comfortable, and to avoid the growth that comes from challenge. But fear is temporary, while the power inside you is eternal. Courage is cultivated by consistently choosing to act despite fear. Each choice to move forward builds confidence, resilience, and strength. Fear cannot survive where action and faith take root. The more you act in courage, the more fear loses its authority, and the more you live in the power that is already within you. Imagine a life where fear no longer controls your decisions. Imagine waking up each morning with confidence, knowing that your actions are guided by courage, clarity, and purpose. Challenges would no longer feel overwhelming, setbacks would no longer paralyze you, and doubts would no longer dictate your steps. Fear would become a signal, not a barrier, a reminder that the moment calls for faith, strength, and courage. Each obstacle would be an opportunity to demonstrate power, each difficult conversation a chance to show love, and each challenge a moment to apply a sound mind. Life would become a series of victories, not because fear disappears, but because it has been refused at every turn. The freedom that comes from refusing fear is transformative. You are no longer living for the comfort of avoidance, but for the purpose of courage. Every act of faith strengthens your spirit and inspires those around you. Your confidence becomes contagious, your calm becomes a guide, and your clarity becomes a beacon. Fear no longer dictates where you go or what you attempt. Instead, it becomes a background noise that you can acknowledge without obeying. You begin to make choices intentionally, act deliberately, and speak boldly. Fear may knock, but it cannot enter unless you open the door. The power within you ensures that you walk with confidence and determination. Life will always present uncertainty, challenges, and moments that tempt you to surrender to fear. But the spirit inside you has not been designed for fear. It has been designed for strength, love, and a sound mind. By consistently choosing faith, courage, and clarity, you reclaim your authority over your life. Each time you act despite fear, you remind yourself that you are stronger than what seeks to stop you. Life's storms may rage, yet your inner power remains unshaken. Obstacles may rise, but your confidence rises higher. Doubts may whisper, but your faith speaks louder. Fear can visit, but it cannot control the one who chooses courage. Each day is an opportunity to decide who will rule your life, fear or faith. Fear will always try to dominate, whispering warnings, exaggerating problems, and magnifying uncertainties. But faith is louder when you choose to listen. Power, love, and a sound mind are gifts that equip you to rise above every challenge. The moment fear appears is the moment to remember who you are and what resides inside of you. Every step you take in courage diminishes fear's authority. Every act of faith strengthens your inner voice. Every thought directed toward hope replaces anxiety with peace. Fear will come, but it will not control your life. When you walk intentionally with strength, love, and clarity, the lessons you learn by confronting fear have lasting value. They shape your character, build your resilience, and deepen your understanding of your own potential. Every challenge faced, every moment of doubt confronted strengthens the mind, strengthens the spirit, and strengthens the spirit. Fear may attempt to convince you that you are weak or unprepared, but the truth is that you are equipped for every moment you encounter. Courage is cultivated through practice, perseverance, and faith. The more you act in spite of fear, the more natural courage becomes. Fear may arrive, but it cannot take residence. You are stronger than any challenge, braver than any doubt, and wiser than any hesitation. Your life is meant to be lived boldly, intentionally, and without fear controlling your steps. Every day, the Spirit within you provides power to act, love to guide, and a sound mind to think clearly. Fear is not part of your inheritance. Courage is. Doubt is not your destiny. Strength is. Hesitation is not your ruler. Clarity is. As you move through this day, refuse to let fear dominate your heart or mind. Walk boldly, act courageously, and speak confidently. Each time fear appears, remember the gifts you carry and the strength within you. You were created to live above fear, guided by faith, empowered by love, and equipped with a sound mind. Fear is one of the most powerful forces a human mind can face. It whispers in quiet moments, creeps into our thoughts, and slowly convinces us that we are incapable of overcoming challenges. It may be fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of uncertainty, or fear of what the future holds. Many people live their entire lives under the silent rule of fear, never realizing the freedom that comes when it is refused. But there is a truth more powerful than fear, a light that can shine through even the darkest moments. You are created to live boldly, courageously, and intentionally. The Spirit within you is not designed for fear. It is designed for strength, love, and a sound mind. When you recognize this truth, fear begins to lose its grip. Each day brings an opportunity to rise above its whispers and embrace courage. Fear often gains power by convincing you that you are alone in your struggles. It isolates your heart, making you believe that nobody understands or supports you. But every human being experiences fear at some point in life. The difference lies in how you respond to it. When you remember that you are guided, loved, and strengthened by forces greater than yourself, fear begins to weaken. Connection, encouragement, and faith replace isolation. Fear may visit your mind, but it cannot live where courage and trust dwell. Your life was never meant to be paralyzed by fear. Every step you take in faith, every act of courage, and every choice to act boldly pushes fear out. Strength grows each time you refuse to obey its whispers, and freedom becomes more visible in your life. Many fears exist, not in reality, but in imagination. The mind creates scenarios that may never happen, magnifying obstacles and predicting failure before any challenge even arises. What if I fail? What if people reject me? What if life turns against me? These thoughts may seem reasonable, but fear exaggerates them. The majority of our fears never actually manifest, yet they can dominate our thinking if left unchecked. Awareness and education teach us to recognize fear as a visitor, not a ruler. You can confront it, challenge it, and replace it with truth. Every thought guided by clarity diminishes fear's authority. Each time you act despite imagined worries, your confidence grows and courage strengthens its hold on your life. Faith is the ultimate antidote to fear. Fear and faith cannot coexist in the same heart at the same time. Every time you choose faith, the power of fear weakens. Faith is not simply belief, it is a deliberate act of trust in your own strength, gift, your purpose, and your inner guidance. Fear tries to make you doubt, hesitate, and withdraw. But faith reminds you of what is true. You are capable, you are equipped, and you are strong. Courage grows when faith is exercised. Each act of trust over doubt strengthens your spirit. Every step taken in faith builds momentum, confidence, and resilience. Fear may knock, but faith answers. I am stronger than you. Fear often strikes when change or opportunity arrives. It wants to keep you small, comfortable, and safe in the known rather than brave in the unknown. Yet growth, purpose, and achievement all demand courage in the face of fear. Every person who accomplishes something extraordinary has faced fear, hesitation, and doubt. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is action in spite of fear. The more you confront fear with decisive steps, the weaker it becomes. The more you exercise your inner strength, the more unstoppable you become. Obstacles may rise, but your resolve rises higher. Fear may attempt to intimidate, but your courage defines your path. The mind is your battlefield, and thoughts are your weapons. Fear dominates when it is allowed to guide your thinking. Hesitation, doubt, and imagined failures control your actions when fear rules your mind. But a mind focused on hope, strength, and clarity will produce a life of courage and intentional action. Discipline of thought is essential. Education, reflection, and awareness equip the mind to recognize fear, confront it, and replace it with truth. Each decision made in clarity strengthens the mind and heart. Each challenge faced with confidence diminishes fear's authority. By mastering your thoughts, you master your life. Fear is loudest when opportunities arise that demand growth. It shouts when you are about to speak truth, take a risk, or pursue a dream. It tries to convince you that failure is inevitable, rejection is certain, and success is impossible. But fear is temporary, while the power within you is enduring. Every step taken despite fear strengthens courage and resilience. Each challenge becomes a chance to exercise faith and discover hidden strength. Fear cannot survive where action and determination are present. Every time you face fear with intentionality, you demonstrate the power that has always resided inside you. Courage becomes a habit, and fear loses its authority. Your life moves forward, unstoppable and purposeful. Imagine a life where fear no longer controls your decisions, where confidence guides every action, and faith determines every step. You would approach challenges with calmness instead of panic. You would pursue dreams with determination instead of hesitation. You would embrace uncertainty with faith instead of worry. Fear would become a signal, not a barrier. It would remind you to rely on your inner strength, your love, and your sound mind. Obstacles would no longer intimidate you. Doubts would no longer halt you. Each day would be lived boldly, intentionally, and without hesitation. Freedom from fear transforms life into a journey of growth, courage, and purpose. The freedom that comes from refusing fear changes more than actions. It changes perspective. Life is no longer about avoidance, but about embracing opportunity. Every act of faith, every moment of courage strengthens not only your spirit, but also inspires those around you. Your calm becomes contagious, your confidence becomes visible, and your sound mind becomes a guide. Fear may knock, but it cannot dictate your steps. The power inside you ensures that you act boldly, speak truth, and pursue. The chains of hesitation are broken, and life becomes intentional. Fear becomes a reminder of courage, not a ruler of action. Every choice to act strengthens the spirit, heart, and mind. Life will always present uncertainty, challenges, and moments that tempt surrender to fear. Yet the spirit within you is not designed for fear. It is designed for strength, love, and clarity. Choosing faith and courage reclaims authority over your life. Each decision made in spite of fear strengthens character, builds resilience, and deepens understanding. Life's storms may rage, yet inner power remains unshaken. Obstacles may rise, but resolve rises higher. Doubts may whisper, but faith answers louder. Fear is never fully eliminated, but it can be confronted and overcome consistently. Courage is not born without challenge. It is cultivated in the confrontation with fear. Each day offers a choice: to let fear rule or to rise above it. Fear may try to dominate your thoughts, exaggerate problems, and magnify uncertainties. But your spirit is equipped to respond with strength, love, and clarity. Every step taken in courage diminishes fear's authority. Every act of faith strengthens your inner voice. Every thought directed toward hope replaces anxiety with confidence. The power within you exceeds the shadows of doubt. The love within you drives fear out. The clarity of your mind provides direction even when challenges loom. Fear may appear, but it cannot rule the life of one who walks intentionally with faith and courage. Confronting fear teaches lessons that are lasting and transformative. Each challenge strengthens resilience, deepens understanding, and builds character. Fear may attempt to convince you that you are weak, unprepared, or unworthy, but your inner power proves otherwise. Courage is strengthened through consistent action, perseverance, and faith. The more you act despite fear, the more natural courage becomes. Fear may visit, but it cannot dwell. Each confrontation with fear becomes a victory, a proof of your strength and a testament to your ability to rise above doubt. Your life becomes a testimony that fear has no ultimate authority. Courage, faith, and clarity define your path. Your life was designed to be lived boldly, intentionally, and free from fear's domination. Every day, your spirit provides power to act, love to guide, and a sound mind to think clearly. Fear is not part of your inheritance, courage is. Doubt is not your destiny. Strength is. Hesitation is not your ruler. Clarity is. Every decision, action, and thought has the power to honor the Spirit within you. Fear may appear, but it cannot dictate your path. You are equipped, empowered, and guided to live boldly. Your steps are intentional, your actions courageous, and your thoughts aligned with truth. Today, fear will not control you because your spirit has already been prepared for victory.